Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Vlogmas. So, it's super early in the morning. In today's episode of Vlogmas, I am just gonna do a simple little get ready, like a little hair get ready, to be honest, while I talk to you guys about all the things that I wish I would have known, I'm glad I knew, and I'm going to tell you for the future about if you decide to color your natural hair. I'm giving you a real bad example, but this is my natural hair, right? Guys, take this with a grain of salt the way my hair looks right now, because I literally have not... I haven't washed my hair in like 3 weeks, and before this they were in twist, and yeah. But for today's hairstyle, I'm gonna do two little like ballerina space buns. I've made several videos on my channel about coloring my natural hair and or kind of going through the process with you guys and just explaining to everyone what I'm doing. Something that I will say is when I first started coloring my hair, I was trying to use the dye that comes in the white bottle. I believe it's like the Adore Me or something like that. When I tried to do this the first time, in the very first video of me coloring my hair, it didn't end up too well. To be honest, I really liked the color and everything like that when it was coming out into the bowl that you used to put the dye into. Although, if you watched my first hair coloring video, you will kind of see that it didn't really go too hot. And after that, because when the color was showing up, it was only showing up in the faintest of ways. Like when I was out in the sunlight, you could see it, but only when I was out in the sun. It was acting more as like an invisible type of dye situation, and that really wasn't what I was going for. But my goal when it came to coloring my hair was to make sure that my hair took as minimal damage as possible. I can tell you guys that when doing this, my hair did not take a lot of damage, but it is also because the hair color did not stick super well into my hair. When I went to go move forward to dye my hair a second time, I picked up the L'Oreal High Color dye, which is this, and it worked amazing. And that took my hair from a black color to this. And that was a one-step process, I believe. I didn't have to dye my hair multiple times to get this color, and so much so to where when I went to go dye my hair again after that color had like grown out, it was literally just a touch up. Something I will say about when you're using dyes, most times you do have to use a lightening agent. In the L'Oreal High Color, I believe that there is a bit of peroxide in their dye, and that's why it lightens as it changes your color, your hair this other color. And with the Adore Me dye, there was no lightening agent. With that, you would have to use bleach. Getting into the tip portion, if I were someone who was looking to color my natural hair, at this point in time, I would be sure that I am looking for a dye or a color that is, one, not going to crazily kill my hair. There was this trend of people who had like kind of jet black hair trying to go from jet black to blonde, and stuff like that really fries your hair because you have to go up so many lightening levels. Every time your hair is lightening or you do that, it's taking away like a level essentially. Imagine your hair being an onion, like in Shrek, right? We're all onion. Every time you color it, it's taking a layer of that onion away. So when you go to bleach your hair, it's taking away so many layers of your onion, and in that, you will then start to see your hair texture changing. You will start to see the health of your hair declining, and it's because all the nutrients that's been taken out of your hair is gone. Personally feel like this, and have seen this with so many naturals and them wanting to dye their hair, not even just naturals, seeing so many people who color their hair and then they end up having to color their hair darker, so things like the sun and stuff will stop bleaching their hair or stop making their hair this incredibly like dry and brittle thing. And that is something that will happen to you when you color your hair will start to feel a little different, and it is because you've changed the integrity of your hair. Even when I colored my hair, even with feeling as though it wasn't super damaged by what I did the second time or the first time around, then it was kind of off-putting when I started to see my hair changing. If you guys can see in this section going down, this is the red color that was in my hair and now it has kind of grown out. I will say that when it comes to your hair though, I know that I preach a lot about understanding your hair type and your hair porosity and things like that, but when you are coloring your hair, I don't think that your hair type and hair porosity necessarily make any difference. So if that's something that you are worried about, I am here to ease your concerns. That's not really a factor. I will say though that if you are someone who is coloring your hair, especially if you're going any shade lighter or any way that it's going to peel back that layer of your onion, it will affect your hair. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it won't. It's gonna affect it in some way. For me, it wasn't necessarily my hair texture that was affected. What was more so affected was the moisture level that remained within my hair. So after I colored my hair got a lot more prone to being dry, especially on the ends of my hair because that is the oldest part of my hair. So something that I would say is if you were going to color your hair, please be prepared for the upkeep and maintaining the health of your hair if that is something that you care about quite often. That's something that I cared about. I was just looking for a change, something new, whatever. Also, something that I have to say is make sure that you're not dyeing your hair back to back, because dyeing your hair back to back I feel like is a surefire way to really mess up your hair, to really mess up the pattern of your hair, only because you keep manipulating it and you keep doing things that are peeling back that onion layer. That's something that's super important to know, something that's super important to keep in mind. Coloring your hair isn't something that should be harmful to it. It shouldn't be like something that feels like it may be impossible or anything like that to do. It's something that is very simple. For me, I did a lot of research in the dyes that I was using. I looked up a lot of tutorials to make sure that there were multiple people saying that the dye wasn't something that was damaging their hair or like, you know, their hair fell out or anything. And that's something I would also recommend. There's nothing new under the sun unless you're planning to be the first person to ever dye your hair like a certain color or with a newfound technology or something. More than likely you can find a YouTube tutorial, any kind of tutorial, to be honest, like on TikTok, on Instagram, on whatever, and there's several people who have colored their hair, several people who have come out of the experience like unharmed and their hair is still growing, thriving, healthy. So I would go and I would look and find people who have also dyed their hair either a similar color. I'm a basic little ting, so the color that I wanted to dye my hair, there were several people who had already dyed their hair and I was able to see that their results and see the color that it came out with and everything like that. So I would do that. When it comes to coloring your hair, always be sure to try a patch test if you can. A patch test is just taking a part of your hair. So for me, it's like the last little piece of long hair that I have in the back of my head and trying out the product on that, because where people mess up is you go all or nothing, and you know, that's perfectly fine. I did that my first time and I didn't get the results that I was wanting, because if I would have done a patch test, I would have seen that the dye was not going to be super pigmented, and that could have saved me some trouble with my hair. So always try and do a patch test. Always try and make sure that 1, you're not allergic to the dye, and 2, it's actually going to leave some pigment in your hair before you just go on this tangent of, you know, adding a bunch of color to your hair for no reason. Those are all the tips and everything that I've kind of learned from coloring my natural hair. I will say that it's definitely an experience that if you're thinking about it, try it. If you're looking for a good dye brand with multiple different colors and color options, I would definitely try the L'Oreal High Color. It's one of my personal favorites. I would recommend it to anybody. And I may be coloring my hair again, not soon, because I want to let my hair grow out a little bit, but I may be coloring my hair again, and this is definitely going to be the dye that I use. Always make sure that your hair is super hydrated when it comes to doing any styles or anything like that. Always make sure that you are caring about the health of your hair first before anything. And if you're ever nervous, like I said, look up tutorials, look up people who've also used the same hair dye, the same hair color, see where it got them and see where they can go from there. And it's not something you should be super afraid of. I love to say hair is just hair. And always, 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 if you are someone who's wanting to dye your hair a little lighter color or anything like that, you can always go back dark. You can always go back dark if the light color does not work out, but once you go dark, if that's something that you're going into, it's going to be a nightmare trying to lighten your hair back up. If you guys want more tips about dyeing or anything, I will leave someone's channel in my bio below that she is amazing when it comes to hair coloring, knowing things, taking color out of your hair and everything like that. She's one of my mutuals on X, I believe. So yeah, but she's great. So definitely go check this video out. Go check out her channel to see. Those are all the tips and tricks I have for you, as well as all the knowledge that I kind of have about coloring my hair. When it comes to things like shampoos, conditioners, all that stuff, use what's recommended for you. Use what you know to use, especially if you're trying to put more health back into your hair. Just follow your gut, follow your instinct. You know what's good and what's not good for your hair. And if you don't, you can leave a comment down below and let me know. That being said, also, if you like this video, if you like other content like this, if you are looking for a new hair bestie, me, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, turn on your post notifications so you get notified when I post. Be a part of our village, be a part of our family. And if you want to stalk and stick around, all my social media will be right here, as well as linked in the description below. But thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Vlogmas, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.